Hi, and welcome to class session 8 for Ed 407-507. Let's go ahead and take a look at this week's agenda. I'm going to discuss the math project rubric, assignments due, new assignments, the ELL presentation, written expression test, new topics, grad project, and closing. So to begin, let's take a look at the math project rubric. As you know, your math project will be due this coming week, and to give you an idea of how I will be awarding points are based on the 6 different sections based on the task and how much the breakdown is. I have basically taken all sections 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 accumulate to be 100 points. Then section 4 is 100 points, so all of that together would give you your 200 point total. So just to give you the heads up on that. Your assignments due were last week. You were supposed to utilize your time to work on your math project, do the typology quiz, do the section 2 quiz from Hudson and Miller, and the Blackboard activities for error analysis of algebra, and also the theoretical framework of bilingual special education. If you did not complete the theoretical framework, it is actually going to be carried in since it's both week 7 and 8, so that will also be a carried over assignment for this week as it is written here. So good news is if you've already completed it, you have no Blackboard activity to do this week. You will now begin reading Graham and Harris's section 1, not chapter 1, so look very closely in your book. It's section 1, and you will be taking a reading quiz over section 1. Your math project, as I mentioned, is due, as well as the written expression mastery test is also due this week, no exceptions. I've created an ELL presentation in Blackboard that is actually compiled by Sandy Owen, who is an ELL instructor within District 70. She's phenomenal and a great resource and reference. I've included her emails here in case you have any questions or concerns, but you will need to watch the other video in regards to the ELL presentation that is posted. I am presenting it on her behalf, but if you have any questions or need any ideas or strategies for working with a student who is both ELL as well as special ed, she's the go-to person for this. As I mentioned, you have your written expression test. This assessment is within Blackboard, and you have 2 attempts at this test. Please allow yourself enough time to complete it. This is an idea to see where you are yourself in the area of writing. As we begin our topic for this week, I'm basically integrating, since this is the middle of the road basically between math and writing, we're going to talk about integrating the two together. And there's a great deal of literature out there that already gives you tons of ideas for how this can be done at all levels. It really creates opportunities for students to make up their own story problems and really show that higher level of thinking, which is what we discussed even last week with Bloom's taxonomy. By teachers incorporating writing in math class, it helps for students to reflect on their learning, deepen their understanding of important concepts by explaining and providing examples of those concepts, and make important connections to real life applications of the math they are learning. Teachers are writing assignments to assess students' understandings of important concepts, student proficiency in explaining and using those concepts, and each student's attitude toward learning mathematics. Writing in mathematics is a win-win for both teacher and student. Although it may be difficult to introduce this practice, it is so well worth it in the long run. And finding simple ways to incorporate short writings throughout daily lessons and longer writings over the course of weeks or a math unit is really great. An easy way to get this in place is doing a think, pair, share strategy first and foremost, and building this in. I feel that as more that we are able to do this for younger students, that they will excel in the area of math as they get older if they have this opportunity to have this integrated. As you know, our student assessment program really has where students have to take their math and go just a little bit beyond where they're actually explaining how they know how to solve a problem. And if they could write it out the way they know it, that's great, and integrating vocabulary within that as well. There's a great deal of research on writing within math, and I know you probably have seen it yourself. It's easy to implement. It's a great way to build the two together. And what's nice is that if you have an activity where students are doing that, creating, for example, a book. I know there's M&M's, there's the Twizzler book, there's a Grapes Are for Math. I mean, there's so many different books out there now, literature pieces that are books that have the writing within them, but it's talking about math. throughout. And so I look at it, and a great activity is for your students to take that higher level thinking and create maybe a story themselves, including the concept of what they're learning in math. Then the bonus is, instead of grading two separate things, you're grading one but giving dual credit for both the writing and the math. Planning for the writing and math lessons and vice versa is very, very important. You must plan ahead for how that's going to look, whether it's going to be within writing time that you're going to focus in, or if it's going to be during math time, or possibly both. Research does say that integrating these content areas will raise student achievement because they're working on that higher level thinking and being able to express and share how they know it, how they can apply it, how they can identify it, etc. And that really, as you know, builds conceptual knowledge. Writing is our own knowledge base in terms of these skills. Do we know rules of grammar, important spelling generalizations, style rules? This is where we're going to come down to and see, and you're going to rate yourself on how you performed on the writing test that I will be giving you this week. You will see what you know yourself. It's really interesting. I do believe that if we don't use it, we lose it. So some things you might be like, oh, that's right. And even we'll talk even more into getting into this writing topic, how these type of things impact student and student achievement, and have some great discussions on spelling, for example, and how crucial that is for our students. And we'll go from there. So keep that in mind, and if you have any questions, please bring them to next class. Graduation project, as you know, we're still on week 8, so this is still what needs to be done for your graduate project, so please make sure you're working with your group. As you know, next week I will be giving you work time to get together with your group. This will be the last group work session that I will be able to provide you in class, so please take advantage of it. Real quick, I need to give you the password for this week. Our password for this week is essay. Please send me essay in an email. And if you have any questions or any concerns, as always, let me know. Thanks, and I hope you have a great week.